Hello, 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 and welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me remind you that we are covered by the BIP-COT No Government License, which allows for the reuse, redistribution, and modification of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is bipcot.org. This is episode 44, which I think I titled Axes, Taxes, and Revenue Generation or something stupid like that. We got a special guest in the house tonight. We got the absolutely fantastic Miss Terri Lynn Coleman, the AnarchoPinup. How are you doing tonight, Terri?
I'm wonderful, actually. I haven't been this happy in years and years.
Awesome.
And I'm here with you guys. Yay.
That's right.
Yep. So, why don't you tell
we're always a good time.
Why don't you tell none of our viewers? There's nobody watching. Who you are and how you came to anarchism and a little bit about yourself.
Well, for all of you who aren't watching, I'm Terri, as he said. Actually, I guess 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, I was on Facebook. I've always been a rebel, whatever. But this guy messaged me. We became friends because I had posted, I don't know if you remember the Walmart bounce song, New Orleans Bounce is like dance music, but they made a ratchet-ass video in Walmart where the girls were dancing in the baskets and stuff. Well, I met this guy over that video, and then he started messaging me like, hey, you seem like you're smart. Check this guy out. And it was Ron Paul or whatever. So, face first into that, and what was that? Yeah, I was a fucking call bot to the fucking core. You know, I was door to door doing the robocalls. I was, taking the signs to the Saints games, Ron Paul, and all that stuff in the Superdome. And then I met Kyron Pearson, and he trolled me right on into anarchism. Just by asking the hard questions over and over and over and over until I couldn't say no anymore. And I'm like, all right, dude, you got me. And now we are one of the 5 famous Black anarchists in America. No, I'm just
Nice.
But people know me from taxation and stuff. Like 2 or 3 years ago, when the taxation
every single post ends with
every post. That's what people know me from. Like, I'll be outside and people are like, "Hey, taxation and stuff." I'm like, "Yeah,
Nice.
Now, what was your political leaning before you, dove into libertarianism and anarchism?
Well, I was a political retarded, just regular, dumbass, just.
Yeah. But how did you identify? Left leaning or right leaning, or?
It was always like, okay, I understand this part of this and that part of that, but I'm Black, I'm in the hood. Of course, I never even voted. I never voted. So, it was a smooth transition right into libertarianism and then, anarchy, because I didn't really, I always felt like I don't know what they're talking about. I
so
can't.
You're kind of like a political agnostic almost.
Yeah.
Apolitical.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was apolitical, but then, I was hopeful, and I was like, okay, Obama, Black president, maybe, hey, it'll be a Black president, yada, yada, yada. And then it was just like, what the fuck,
Yeah. Well, I think he did a lot to facilitate the waking up of a lot of people, really, because,
not on purpose, but yeah.
No, not on purpose at all. Not on purpose at all. But, I hated Bush, but I never voted. So I always considered myself
Bush was a joke to me.
Well, I mean, you're from New Orleans, so you had to deal with the whole Katrina thing and what
I
happened
lived
with
through
all
Katrina.
that. So, yeah, exactly.
That shit was crazy to me. It was. We lived outside for a week. We went to the Superdome seeking shelter, and they said, "Put your guns in this barrel," and we were like, "I'm going back down there." We're good. We're
Right?
keeping our weapons.
Right.
But yeah, that shit
Yeah,
was
shit
crazy.
was
And you know
crazy.
what's really crazy? When Katrina came, Bush, Clinton, and Obama came down to look at the area. Barack Obama wasn't even running for president yet.
No.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So I was always like, now they show back the pictures and you see Bush, Clinton, and Obama. That was 2005. They had already picked him for president. You know what I'm saying? Back in 05.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
that's how it
establishment
works.
already had him. They were already.
Now, was he even a senator then?
In Chicago,
I don't know. I think he was still neighborhood organizer because he was only a senator for what, 2 years?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah, nobody climbs the political ladder that quickly unless they are.
No way.
Chosen.
If you're not independently wealthy or you're chosen. You know, Ross Perot did it, but he was a fucking billionaire.
Yeah.
Donald Trump, a billionaire. You can do it if you're independently wealthy. But he was just some dude from Chicago.
He was a member of the Illinois State Senate from 97 to 04, and then a U.S. Senator from January 3rd, 05 to November 2008.
January 05. Okay, so he was
state legislature.
He was a senator for like maybe a couple months.
When Katrina happened.
7
Yeah,
months.
exactly. Yeah.
So
why are you with these other two presidents?
Yeah,
because he was being groomed. That's the way it works.
It's not suspect at all.
No, that's totally not suspect. That's not suspicious. That's not
I see him as like
You're a
more of
conspiracy
like
theorist, girl.
Oligarchy.
He was more of like a front as like a
crazy pinball people. That's not fucking suspicious.
I see him as more of like a Clinton operative, really.
Yeah.
You know, because Hillary was, running the State Department and running all that shit with her fucking wide open server.
Realistically, who's got Hillary's lead? Right? Soros.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they said George Soros has been an advisor to Barack Obama since he was like in Harvard or wherever he went to school at.
He's been grooming
him.
I'm
sure.
Yeah, he's been grooming him, I'm sure.
Yeah. Setting him up from the very beginning.
That's what George Soros does. He uses NGOs to fund color revolutions in countries all over the fucking world.
Yeah, the guy who
and it's always
the guy whose initial family fortune came from the fucking property of dead Jews.
Yeah, turning in fellow Jews.
Yeah. And taking their shit. Yeah. Oh, what a horrible human being.
He's a good guy.
Great guy.
He's a legitimate businessman.
They're all legitimate businessmen. They're all.
They're fucking crooks, every one of them.
Empty suits, man.
Oh, have you seen how dead his eyes are too? You can just see it. There's just nothing.
They're just drinking fucking children blood and shit. Just by the way they look in the eyes.
He looks like Skeletor's grandpa.
Right. The first time I saw a picture of George Soros, I was like, I swear I saw that guy in Ghostbusters. I really, I for real thought that I had seen his face.
But you know who else has the same fucking eyes? That one Rockefeller that's had 5 heart transplants. The same
he's
eye.
dead. He's dead now.
He died. He died finally, but I can't remember which one it was, but
can't find any more matching heart donors to have assassinated. And
well, even if he did get one, I mean, he was 93 years old.
Right. Give up already, shit.
Yeah. What about Jacob Rothschild? When is that motherfucker gonna die?
I'm surprised one of his sons didn't put a pillow over his head before that.
Yeah.
Go away, Dad. Give me your $1 trillion.
This is the thing. Okay, what are you holding on for? I'm sure you got all this money. You can do whatever you want. You've done everything under the sun you can do. What is there left for you to do? Just give up.
Right. Or maybe you haven't.
It's just
maybe
about
all you've
power
done all your
being
life
able to manipulate shit.
Yeah, maybe all you've done your whole life is cultivate more power and more wealth. And what
that's
the
what
fuck did you ever do?
They become very addictive to the power. and they keep seeking more power.
And that's all they do their whole life. How fucking sad is that? Like, that's fucking pathetic if that's all you care about.
Yeah, for them it's not even about the money. That's just a means to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, it's
Money
real
to get
easy
the power.
when you've been wealthy your whole life. It's real easy to not be about
I've
the money.
never been wealthy. Like, I've had large sums of cash money from times, like time to time, but I've never been wealthy. So I just don't understand. It's like wanting to control other people's shit. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, and you know what though?
Narcissism. Every politician that's in office ran for that seat. They ran for the power.
They wanted it
they didn't.
bad.
If they ran to change things, no corporate sponsors would get behind them.
No.
Right? No big money would get behind them, and nobody would have ever heard of them.
Right.
That's what elections are. Assuming voting matters, that's what elections are—a popularity contest. Otherwise they wouldn't spend $100 billion to get into a position that makes $437,000 a year.
Right.
It's the power. Yeah. It's the power, and it's the connection.
Well, I mean, you got the perks of insider trading and everything once you become member.
Oh, it's the ultimate. We've talked about that before.
I mean, have we even watched House of Cards? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the ultimate insider trading scam. It absolutely is. When you can use the force of law to bolster the industries that you are heavily invested in, that is the ultimate fucking insider trading scam.
And then here comes the commies. Capitalism, but that's not capitalism.
No, it's corporatism.
Fundamental difference than what capitalism really is, and it's not even, it's not a system. It's just me selling you some fucking apples and you giving,
Right.
It's as simple as a
people. Right. It's people allocating their own capital however they fucking see fit.
Whereas that it's like it's a total fucking monopoly on everything.
Right.
And it's all like kickbacks to your buddies for paying you to do favors for them, and it's fucked up because it's like. We've discussed this before, how it's like it's fascism one way and socialism another way, because it's like from the top down, from the corporate and down to the government, it's fascism because they're paying off politicians to do their work for them,
right?
Like maneuver shit. And then it's socialism from the bottom, from the government to the corporate, because they're giving taxpayer subsidies and everything. So
right.
Yeah, I mean,
and as soon as you inject force into this equation, it ceases to be capitalism. It is no longer capitalism once the force line is crossed. Once consent gets violated, it is no longer capitalism.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
In a capitalist system, you're not going to fucking try and exclude the small guy and allow him to compete with you.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, when the former head of Monsanto becomes a member of the U.S. Department of Agriculture,
not suspicious at all. Once again,
yeah. Let's see.
There's always the revolving doors.
OpenSecrets.org. Lobbyists spent $3.37 billion last year.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Where you just talked about this a couple episodes ago, right?
Yeah.
Lobbying should be illegal. Like, if y'all want to have any semblance.
Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. Lobbying should be illegal. You're going to get the people that are paid by lobbyists to make lobbying illegal?
This is what I'm saying. If you want to have some semblance that what you're doing is not a total crock of shit, lobbying would not be allowed.
That's why they allow you
to.
That's why they still allow you to
vote.
They
don't give a fuck that we know it's a crock of shit.
Yeah, you still you still get a say.
Yeah, that's why they still allow you to vote.
It's all
it preserves the illusion of a representative government.
Right.
Look, you get a choice between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. What are you complaining about?
Right. It's all
what was it?
It's bread and circuses to appease the masses.
What was it? 2012 between Romney, or not Romney and Obama, but McCain and Obama. Like 6 of the top 10 donors to each were the same companies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And that is officially like the last election that I actually even paid any little bit of attention to, that I tried to ignore. When the Trump election came along, I was so far gone. Like, I don't watch this shit. I don't care about this shit. Oh, Hillary's going to be the president. I'm not even, uncertain about that. And that morning when I woke up and Donald Trump was the president, I fucking cried, laughing, and fell out of the bed. That shit was so fucking funny to me.
I was actually surprised because I was so sure that Hillary had been selected.
I was too.
It was Hillary.
Yeah,
I was so sure. I'm like, y'all shitting me. Y'all are playing with me, right? You're kidding me. This nigga is not the president. He's not the president. And he was. That is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Kevin and I were dying. We were watching the numbers come in, and we were fucking dying, like watching that shit.
Oh, I was watching them, and I just kept going, "Wait, no,
dude,
no, that can't."
Cry was fucking hilarious.
What?
Yeah, that's like what Dan, like what Dan just said. Like watching the numbers was fun. I was getting enjoyment out of that. But watching the people's reaction, watching the Facebook and Twitter outrage, watching people lose their fucking minds,
the fucking hysteria. You see the beginnings of Trump derangement syndrome happening in real time on election night, and these people were just fucking losing it.
There are fewer things in life more enjoyable to me than liberals, libtards, leftists losing their fucking shit. I love that shit.
Amen.
Exactly. Everybody's a Democrat. Everybody's a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a leftist. Everybody's a liberal. And to see these people going, just crying and losing their shit, that shit is gold.
It's so fun.
I love it.
I love all the stories. I love all the stories of the election night parties. You ever go to an election night party that suddenly wasn't a party anymore?
Oh my god! Like they just knew, like how I knew. I knew Hillary was the fucking president. I knew that. You couldn't tell me no different. So I know they knew.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, going from
and not because I thought
going from a party to a wake. From a party to a wake.
You're right.
Exactly. All of a sudden, everyone just starts to get this glazed look on their eye about like 11 p.m. and they're just like, I don't understand what's occurring right now. Am I that drunk? I don't think I'm that drunk. I don't
like this.
What?
I don't like this. I don't like this.
But I mean, you guys, it is
like, honey, we have to leave.
The meme economy has been booming ever since
Trump
got elected.
I miss the Biden memes.
Oh no,
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
The Pence Johnny Danger memes.
Oh
yeah, those are filling the void, but I still miss the Biden memes.
Oh man,
the Biden memes were so good.
Biden was the best thing to happen to comedians since Dan Quayle was in office.
Shit ever. Biden was funny as shit. Though. I mean, he's just as dumb as a box of rocks. He was as dumb as George W.
Yeah, with wandering hands,
but way creepier.
Yes, creepy old man shit. Just like, come here, little girl.
I know.
Yeah, right.
He's announced the other day that he's going to wait until after the midterms before deciding on to run in 2020. Like,
oh, Jesus
I hope he does. My God,
oh my God.
Trump, can you imagine a Trump-Biden debate?
Trump-Biden debate.
And if Elizabeth Warren runs also.
Oh my God.
Elizabeth Warren.
That would be epic.
This is so much like Idiocracy.
How do you even
dude, a Trump Biden debate would be like the biggest shit talking event ever.
Biden.
Oh my God.
I want a Trump Biden t-shirt, nigga. I'm gonna wear it.
How do you even write debate questions for that debate? Like, there is no safe topic that won't go so horribly off the rails. There's just no hope.
You hire a 5th grade debate team teacher to do it. Right? You need.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So you need to go to the grade school.
At this point, I think they're just playing jokes on us. Like, how far can we go?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, right.
I think I've said that before.
Yeah, I think with Trump, they're like, all right, somebody's going to call bullshit, guys. They're like, no, seriously. He wins by a landslide. It'll be great.
Like, watch this shit. Watch.
Wait. Hold my beer.
They're going to roll out Biden next, and they're just going to be, and somebody's going to just look and be like, there's no fucking way anyone's going to believe this is actually happening anymore. There is just no physical way.
Trump has been on Monday Night Raw. This is literally fucking idiocracy.
The president is on wrestling. I remember that shit. I remember it.
Yeah.
Dude shaved he shaved McMahon's head.
Voicing his own voice.
Camacho.
I got a solution.
It's easy.
We got this guy not sure.
It's easier. It's easier to. It's easier to fool people than to convince them they've been fooled.
Yeah,
yep, exactly.
Oh my god, it's theater at this point. To me, it's like theater.
No,
it's nothing
like
more.
Bad theater. It's not even theater. It's like off Broadway, off Broadway.
Right, off Broadway.
It's community theater.
It's not even in New York anymore. Off Broadway.
Right, it's in Nebraska.
It's
in Jersey.
Comedy too, because you have to have a really
Jersey's
fucked
the
up
armpit
sense
of
of
America.
humor, like we do. You gotta have a fucked up sense of humor to find this shit funny. So this is like you
gotta be a certain level of intelligence to even know it's not real. And I'm like, how dumb is America to not know that it's not real?
Yeah, this is the Bear Cave Community Theater production.
This is some fucking hipster shit, you guys. Only a few people get it.
It might as well be in French and subtitled, and everyone's just gonna pretend.
And they say fluoride's good for the teeth.
Hey,
it's fucking acid. It's acid, you guys.
My pineal gland.
Well, remember the Russians colluded with the Trump campaign.
Calcify that shit, baby. Calcify.
My shit's wide open. I can't do it no more.
Yeah. All right, what do we have for news stories, Jason?
I don't know. It's a perfect segue. It is a perfect. Axe throwing bar deemed unsafe has liquor license suspended for 1 day.
I swear to God, let me say something real fast. I swear to God, I saw a video of Jason Momoa in that bar.
Don't talk about my husband. First of all, don't talk about my husband. First of all, that's my husband. You good. You can talk about it.
No. He belongs to me. But no, I saw him in that bar drinking beer.
And he was drinking a beer, and the beer got in his beard, and then he threw the and then he hit it.
Yeah.
That's the sexiest nigga alive.
Fucking badass.
That is that bar, too. That is actually at the bar that we're talking about right now.
Yeah. I knew it. There can only be one axe throwing bar.
There is not only one axe throwing bar. There's one in Milwaukee.
I looked it up.
I actually looked it up. There's one here in the Bay Area.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, a couple towns over. So
we need a video of that, Jason.
Yeah, there's one here in Milwaukee.
Are there any places with chainsaw jugglers?
Because how could chainsaw juggling and beer not mix?
That's for the talent portion
of
the Biden-Trump 2020 debate.
Chainsaw juggling on stage.
With like monster trucks like fucking going off jumps and fireworks and shit. And eagles soaring in.
Dude, it's like, what is it?
And like a fucking a flyover with like
Thursday night rehabilitation.
Okay, Hub Stadium, an Auburn Hills bar that features axe throwing lanes, had its liquor license and permit suspended by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission 1 day this month. Drinking alcohol while throwing axes, axe throwers wearing open-toed socks or open-toed shoes a lack of monitoring by bar management, and axes ricocheting off targets in the direction of participants were among the concerns listed by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
Somebody called the police. Somebody had to call and say somebody angry did that, like a disgruntled employee or something.
Or somebody fucking bitter. Bitter is the word we're looking for. Yeah, somebody fucking bitter
let
did that.
people have their fun. You know what I'm saying? They assume
as long as they sign liability release waivers when they walk through that door, who fucking cares what they do in there?
It gets better. Hold on, it gets better. It gets better. The commission's one-day suspension was issued in order to develop new safety procedures and precautions at the suburban Detroit establishment. Quote, a liquor establishment that allows alcohol-consuming patrons to throw potentially injurious and even deadly weapons pose serious concern.
Wait. Allows. Look, drunk people get drunk and throw shit
all the time.
Fucking time.
Hold my beer and watch this.
Have you ever seen a pool table in a bar?
People to get drunk and throw shit. That is fucking genius.
We don't need your fucking permission.
Well, hold on. Okay, this is the quote right here. This is the quote right here. Quote, while the Michigan Liquor Control Commission does not regulate axe throwing or any other sport, and it's not and it is not contrary to the law for sport activities to take place in liquor licensed establishments. Once the results of the investigation showed that a significant threat to public health existed at this establishment, the Michigan Liquor Control Commission ordered the hearing.
A threat to public health. These are private citizens who paid to go in a motherfucking place where people throw shit and drink, but it's a threat to public health.
Why are pool tables a threat to public health? Haven't you seen Constantine? You can break a pool cue in half and stab a motherfucker with it. Okay?
Hey, I've seen what Jackie Chan does with a pool table.
I've seen what pool balls do to people's faces.
There's nothing else to do in Detroit. Let them people throw in Detroit. Detroit is a wasteland. There's nothing to do there. Let them people do their thing.
Right.
Yeah, they're going to be throwing axes and drinking anyway.
With you.
Hey, it's better than drinking and shooting guns. Can we say that?
I don't know about that.
I'm talking about from the statist argument.
I mean, we're not drinking and practicing quick draw or anything.
Right. Well,
how could that go wrong?
But I'm saying, how can we argue them into supporting this? Right? It's better than drinking and shooting guns.
Stop being a fucking pussy.
That's not
how about these people chose to do this? Why are you worried about what they chose to do?
Not only that, but like the axe throwing bar that's in Milwaukee here in Wisconsin, they actually specifically point out, because leading up to this, I actually checked out their frequently asked questions page out of curiosity, and because I really wanted to know what are the frequently asked questions for an axe throwing bar. And it turns out, they specifically mention there's actually a competitive axe throwing league, and they actually have regulations that all of the axe throwing bars are generally expected to abide by voluntarily for how deep it's going to be, what kind of a cage you're going to have around it, so that they can't bounce.
Shoes.
Yeah. See, and that was the one. That complaint is the one that stuck out to me, is that they also complained that they were allowing patrons to wear open-toed shoes. And everywhere else that I've seen that done has specifically said there are no exceptions to that rule. You must wear closed-toed shoes.
Right.
It only makes sense.
So,
okay, wait. All right.
But an establishment can't control everybody inside every minute. If somebody in fucking Birkenstocks walks up to an axe throwing lane and picks up an axe and throws it, they've got a fucking sharp weapon in their hand. Are you going to stop them if they're drunk and hell-bent on throwing it?
No, I'm going to say, go ahead, thumbs up, have fun, Mr. Nine Toes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like me going to a fucking hardcore or metal show and going into the pit and then fucking suing the place because I got punched in the fucking face. You know what I mean? It's come on.
Yeah, right. But people have done that though.
Flip-flops and suing the place because you got broken toes.
Yeah.
You do not go in the pit in flip-flops. If you're smart, you wear steel toes. You know?
Yeah.
And a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the following are additional concerns noted by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission after reviewing videos of the Stadium Hub social media platforms. Quote, patrons throwing axes at bottles of spirits, consuming shots from the bottle that was not struck, and a message displayed on the video saying, quote, who said don't mix alcohol and axe throwing?
Wait, they were upset that the people walked and grabbed the bottle that didn't get hit.
Yes,
and drank shots out of it?
The untouched bottle.
Yeah. A person bouncing the axe off the floor to hit the target. A person flipping the axe in midair and catching it with their other hand before throwing at the target. A person throwing 2 axes at once. 3 people identified in the video as coaches throwing axes at one target at the same time. A person dropping and catching axes behind his back before throwing 2 axes at the same time at the target. A person attempting to balance feet on a strap, walking barefoot, tightrope style, carrying and tossing an axe at the target. And a person juggling 2 axes before tossing them at the target.
And so whoever complained about this was like really fucking bitter.
They just got fired.
Super tight ass.
Yeah.
Well, they probably couldn't pull it off.
Like in the Navy, we called them Joe Navy.
You know what it was? It was
the Blue Falcons.
It was somebody.
Beware the Blue Falcon.
It was somebody that went there that had a fragile ego and tried to throw an axe and got laughed at.
Probably.
Right.
I would bet money on that's what it was.
That's exactly what I was thinking too. Is they threw it wrong, it bounced off the target, people laughed, and then they're like, you know what? I'm going to shut this whole place down.
Right.
And just
like Milton, fucking Milton.
I could put strychnine in the guacamole. I
could set the building on fire.
What's his name? Oso from Wild Wild Country. They went and put all the shit in the salad.
I don't know that.
Nope.
No idea.
Y'all didn't watch Wild Wild Country on Netflix? The that big cult that moved out into the Midwest.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I keep meaning to watch it. I haven't actually yet.
Yeah, they put like poison or something in the salad bar of the town.
Jesus. Yeah.
Such nice people.
But like Milton, like he's fucking bitter about the way he's been treated. Right? So he's gonna get them on every little
I said no salt on the margarita, and I heeded their salt upon the margarita.
You're really good at that, Andrew. You're super fucking good at that.
I work in an office all day. What do you want?
No salt.
No salt on the margarita.
You guys haven't jumped to conclusions, Matt?
Oh man, that's $1 million idea. I'm working on it. It's gonna happen.
Like the pet rock. You think the pet rock was a good idea? The guy made $1 million.
Pet rocks are awesome because like when somebody says something about them and the pet rock attacks, it's just
down, boy, down. Bad rock.
Fucking pet rock took an eye out.
You're jerking on the leash and the pet's just going everywhere and it hits them. It
went nuts,
man. Pet rocks are terrible, yeah. So yeah, people are not allowing people to have fun.
Yeah, and that's what it amounts to because it really is safe.
Just let people live. Just let people have fun. They want to blow up shit. Let them blow up shit. They want to hurt themselves. Let them.
If you think it's unsafe, why don't you just stay the fuck out of their way? Go home or something.
None of your business.
Exactly. Darwin is face palming right now. The simplicity.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a reason. There's a reason that we have so many fucking people on this planet, and so many of them are fucking retarded because there's too many people.
We can do a whole show. We can do a whole show on that subject alone, and my opinion of how safety rules and safety features have
society
have made not only dumber, but it has made us less aware, less safe.
Well, yeah, because why would you care about your own safety if everyone else is going to worry about it? You know, it's not shouldn't be safety first. It should be like safety third or fourth, because then it's up to you to worry about your safety.
The epitome of the state mindset is I don't have to worry about it because somebody else is going to take care of it for me. And so by us just saying we are the ruler of our own selves, people are like, "Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean?"
All I'm saying is that people that don't have 9 airbags in their vehicle don't drive 90 miles an hour and weave in and out of traffic.
Yeah. You know, I mean, if you're driving a Hummer, right? And I know this from experience because I've done this.
I think I might have 9 airbags in my car.
Yeah, if you're driving a Hummer, like an old school thin skin steel Hummer, even, it's so big and so much bigger than everything, and it's so relatively safe compared to everything else. You drive like an asshole because what are they going to do to you? Nothing. Right. But if you're driving,
just in my Navigator, you know, it's like a full size SUV, and I can get that way just in my Navigator and start.
Right.
Not really.
But you wouldn't have driven the same way in Kevin's commuter.
No, in the Yaris, or in his Mustang. Hell no.
I must be a real dick because I was like that when I'm just walking down the street. I don't give a fuck. Like, bitch, hit me.
Hey, man.
What's he gonna do?
Get knocked down. Oh God, my neck.
But it's only when I'm by myself.
Off,
if I have, if I have my kids in the car, or God forbid someone else's kids in my car, I drive very, very safely. But if I'm on my own and I got some fucking place to be, I mean, I'm not as careful.
Well, I mean, I'll put it like I drive a Dodge Ram, an 04 Ram, and the passenger side airbag is actually Claymore mine.
Nice.
Like, yeah, that's not even an exaggeration. Like, there's a massive recall that apparently once it gets humid, it shatters when it goes off. So instead of it being like a nice blast of hot air, it's shrapnel. So
that's like that
since I discovered
that put like healing crystals.
Somebody you don't like over there and be like, "Yeah, bitch, I got you." You need these fucking brakes, bitch. Keep talking.
If Lindsay ever gets into the truck and says something about turning in your guns, aim for the
at that point. Yeah, oh yeah, that passenger side's getting smacked. Swear
aim
on,
for the
man.
pylon. Aim for the pylon,
dude. But like since I discovered that, I still haven't taken it in. I drive much more carefully because I really don't want to get shot in the face by my dashboard.
Yeah. So that would be a terrible day. Terrible day. Then fuck your beard up. You would have to cut it like how you was looking the other day with that shit. I'm seeing it's growing back. It's growing back good because the other day I was like, "What the fuck is Andrew doing?"
I got it on my face fuzz, and everyone's like, "Oh, you went from Grizzly Adams to some douche on the beach, man. What happened?"
Well, Andrew, if it makes you feel any better, we always thought you were a douche.
Okay, well, it makes me feel a little better.
But he's our douche.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a
That's
difference.
how I feel. Yes, all these people are assholes, but they're my assholes. Don't fuck with them. We'll infight over there later.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with them today.
Right. Because we're a motherfucking family, and we might want to kill each other, but you don't.
Yeah.
If you're not in this family,
care.
you don't lay a hand on any one of us.
Yep. Yeah, because we'll all kill you.
Hashtag game fan.
You mess with one bean, you're messing with the whole burrito. Okay.
Yep. we're like NATO.
Yeah.
Like NATO.
Attack on one is attack on all.
Yep. And we will meme the fuck out of you.
Yeah. We will literally turn you personally into the next big meme. You do not want to be the next big meme.
You don't want to be the next big meme. No.
Lion King
I
prop
remember
maker.
when Christopher Cantwell tried that shit with me. It was a horrible, horrible day.
Oh, hold on. There's a story there. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, no, we need to hear this.
Yeah.
No, so I don't know what the fuck happened.
Girl, you have our attention.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck happened, but all of a sudden they were pulling all my old pictures and making memes. They thought I was white or whatever. Calling me mud sharks and calling, fucking what's the other one? Coal burners and all this shit and making memes. All the little Cantwell groupies and people were just laughing. This is before Donovan died. Donovan was like, "Are you serious? She's fucking black. Y'all are fucking retarded."
Yeah, right.
How the fuck is she a mud shark? Because they had pictures of me, my ex-husband, my children. Like, oh my God. Yeah, they tried to do that shit with me about 3 or 4 years ago. But it turned out bad. Because look at Cantwell now. I mean, come on.
Yep.
Tiki torch.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little jealous. I've never been popular enough to actually get memed by a Nazi.
Oh my God.
Me neither. Me neither.
We got a celebrity amongst us.
Yeah, holy cow.
Yeah, I told you, it's only four of us. There's only about 5 of us, and so they go hard when they go at us.
Right.
They go hard.
I get memed by Jason all the time. I mean, Jason's always memeing us.
There was a series with Dan's inner monologue.
Yeah, the Dan's inner monologue series is good. And the Deck Lavore memes. Those are always good.
Those are fucking classic.
Actually, the last little tiff I had on social media was with David Ballantyne, because he said I was a stuck-up bitch and I just thought so much of myself. And I'm like, obviously, you don't know me at all. Like, I joke all fucking day and I talk shit all day. But he blocked me.
I never got sensed that about you.
Me neither.
You were like high on yourself.
I'm cool. Like, I'm down on myself. I talk about, I'm cool. I talk about my ears, my nose, my shit, They think because I'm the AnarchoPinup and I have this certain look that I'm just whatever. But no, I'm cool people.
And Terry, let's tell the guys for a second, so all the men listening and not listening know.
All
us
four
viewers. We are so hard on ourselves. Holy shit. It is so difficult for us to build any kind of self-esteem. So when we come out and say something nice about ourselves, that's a big fucking win for us to be able to do that. That doesn't make us stuck up. It doesn't mean that we think so highly of ourselves. It means that for once, we are fully valuing ourselves the way that we should be.
And I haven't valued myself coming out of this horrible relationship with an authoritarian type of guy. So, hey, I feel great now. I'm doing great. And fuck you, David Ballantyne, because they were like, oh my God. They were like, it's the battle of the libertarians. Oh my God, is this the next big thing? And I'm like, nah. I don't give a fuck. I'm just laughing at this shit.
Yeah. I'm mostly just a sideline sitter. Like other people can be celebritarians or whatever. And
I don't want to be a celebritarian. They called me a celebritarian. I'm like, not a celebritarian. I'm just a person.
There's
anything to do with that kind of shit.
There's way too many egos in the anarcho-libertarian movement.
Yeah, and they just want to tell you how fucking wrong you are, and they want to argue with you. Bitch, go turn a status. Oh, get the fuck away from me. I know what's up. Right. Why are you arguing with me?
Right. Why are you picking on me? Go fucking pick on someone who deserves it. Damn.
I always call people out. Well, when I was still on Facebook and Twitter, I'd always call out fellow anarchists for the whole dick wagging competition.
The fuck off.
Oh, the dick measuring. Yeah.
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 Dude, Anarchy's so much harder than you.
Exactly. It's always like a purity
test. There, you guys should be just like us here on Anarchy Among Friends. We are just chill friends who like to talk to each other, and that's it. Be like us, because we're awesome.
A legend to me. To me, he's legend status. I'm waiting till I get kicked off Facebook. It might never happen. He's legend status. You're legend status, right?
Yeah.
I'm off of fucking Facebook and Twitter for life.
Yeah, he's perma-banned from Twitter too.
I know. I have you on my Instagram.
I know. That's the only thing they allow me on now.
Telegram. You're allowed on Telegram.
Yeah.
It's impossible to get kicked off Telegram.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think Dan might test it, but we'll see.
Yeah. Don't challenge me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, is that a challenge?
I'll go hard.
By the way,
I don't give a fuck.
By the way, Dan, you need to send me your new phone number because I don't have it. Last time I tried to text you to see if you were going to be able to come on, somebody was like, I think you have the wrong number. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, well, what do I do if he gets banned from Telegram and Instagram? Like, how are we supposed to fucking get a hold of him if I don't have his actual phone number?
Carrier pigeons.
He's on Discord now. Also.
Yeah.
Carrier pigeons.
I'll just
smoke signals and shit.
I bought my carrier pigeons off Mike Tyson. He's an old local from where I live, dude.
Fly, be free there, fella.
He graduated from the same high school I did.
That nigga graduated?
Yeah. I think so. Well, he went to the same high school that I did. Not same year, obviously. Fucking Terry.
He didn't major in English, did he?
This is a past participle, guys.
Can you imagine him trying to read Shakespeare?
Oh my god!
It would be it would be actually Shakespeare has already written a character that would read Shakespeare the way he would read Shakespeare in Midsummer Night's Dream.
The darling buds of May. Summer fell up.
I ain't gonna lie. The Hangover, when they put Mike Tyson in it, that shit was the best thing ever. Like, Mike Tyson in The Hangover is like what I imagine Mike Tyson to be like for real in real life.
The average prepper
there's a jungle cat in the bathroom. There's a jungle cat in the bathroom.
Average prepper says taxation is theft.
He really should try to just become a constitutional lawyer. That's what I want to see.
Oh my god.
This is a clear violation of the Second Amendment.
Well, nobody would know if he's talking about the First Amendment or the Fourth Amendment.
This is a violation of the Fourth Amendment.
Is the what? The First Amendment or the Fourth Amendment?
I don't understand what you're saying.
Suffering succotash.
Taxation is theft, though.
All right. Lion King prop maker busted for trying to 3D print a gun.
What a horrible person.
But didn't he try to do it at work? Because if he tried to do it at work, he probably deserves it.
Well, not arrest, but he deserves to get fired if he tried to do it at work. But
I mean, you can't do that shit at work. Like,
right. But the natural consequence is you get fired.
You work for Disney, my dude. You work for Disney.
No. It's not. It's the Broadway.
It's Broadway.
It's a Broadway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the one with Beyonce.
Yeah.
That's just trash anyway.
Yeah, things weren't very suitably caught at Broadway's iconic The Lion King on Friday afternoon when cops stormed the theater to arrest a prop maker for allegedly trying to make a gun with a 3D printer. Cops from Midtown South Precinct arrived at the Minx Off Theater on West 45th at 12:30 and went backstage to collect Elia Vet, 47, the assistant supervisor to the prop department. Vet of Windsor Terrace, Brooklyn, was in the midst of 3D printing, quote, a hard black plastic object which, based on my training and experience, is shaped like a revolver. A cop swore in Vet's criminal complaint.
What a fucking retard.
Dude, are you
so
sure?
Is the state of Idaho, asshole.
Are you sure that he's not like, he's a prop guy? How do they know that he wasn't just making a prop for another show?
Okay. Here's
we better get off of that. That was a fucking prop.
Yeah.
Quote,
I brought the 3D printer to the theater from my workshop because my workshop is too dusty.
He brought it to work. This is the dumb shit part. He brought the 3D printer to work.
Yeah. Quote, it's mine. I was making a gun as a gift to my brother.
Oh, you stupid son of a bitch.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. You admitted not only, because see, here's the thing, too, is the homemaking.
First of all, you said this is mine. First of all, you said this is my printer. And second of all, you said, yes, I'm making a gun.
Well, it doesn't even matter. See, that's the thing, is it doesn't even matter because 3D printing a gun is completely legal. The issue is that you can only do it for yourself.
You can. It's totally legal to make an unregistered firearm.
For somebody else, though.
That's the thing. That's the dumb part. Like, you can make it yourself.
I'm doing the Cardi B baby face right now.
Yeah. I was making it as a gift for my brother. Quote, he lives upstate and has a firearms license. There's a website that has plans for the gun. I downloaded the plans onto an SD card in the printer.
Every time I hear firearms license, I want to fucking break something.
It was after 8 p.m. Saturday when he was finally arraigned in Manhattan criminal court. Cops had thrown the book at him, initially charging him with criminal possession of a weapon and felony gun manufacture.
But my Second Amendment.
Wow. He could beat that charge if he didn't tell. But I'm gonna throw in a quick plug. If anybody needs any guns, my friend, I know y'all probably don't. My friend, he has a machine shop, and for $400, he can make you an AR-15. That's for the 4 listeners and the 5 people on the show. Just let me know that.
Well, if you want to spend $300, you can get an 80% lower and mill it out yourself, and that's legal. Doing it for yourself.
That's what he does. Hey, but I don't know how to make that shit because I'm a lady.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, on this topic, we're selling that reloading kit that we had. Yeah, the guy wants it back, so we're selling it back too.
All right, this is the best part. This is the best part right here. Manhattan prosecutors reduced the charges, leaving Vet facing 1 count of attempted criminal possession of a firearm.
How do you have fucking attempted possession of a firearm?
Attempted,
which is technically still a felony.
To steal something.
That's a minority report.
And faces up to 4 years in prison.
4 years in prison because he maybe possibly tried to do something that could be construed as not legal.
Yeah. Attempted possession
didn't even succeed
is the most bullshit charge I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
That's New York City for you.
It's like I said, as a minority report, shit, you are charging someone for a crime they never actually committed. Now that's assuming that it actually was a crime, which we got a totally different definition of that. But
I thought about putting up this shit. I thought about killing your ass. You gonna arrest me for this? I thought about it. I think about fucking people up.
Dude, I think about fucking doing illegal shit all the time.
Yeah. You know what's hilarious about the 3D printed guns though? The original plans 2013, the one that Cody Wilson printed out and fired on that video.
They only work like 50% of the time, right?
Even better than that. The plans that were released are not the same plans that he used for the gun. The plans that he used for the gun were adjusted. So the plans that are on the internet are wrong.
Nice. They don't even work.
So we need to look at this from our perspective and our point of view. All of this hardcore coming down on people for attempting to print guns, attempting to possess guns. All this means is, okay, all these people will get off of these charges, first of all. But what it means is when Trump is out and this motherfucking holy white knight liberal motherfucking Democrat president is he's gonna go balls to the wall against guns and try to have us like England, and then he's gonna have all this shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like a buildup. It's always a buildup. This is the buildup to a total gun ban in America.
Well,
I mean, that doesn't affect me. We don't even have guns. We lost all of them in a tragic boating accident.
They just keep happening.
I remember seeing the video of that. The waves were terrible. They were like 6 or 8 inches high. And it was
we were out on the Potomac.
That one cloud in the sky it was terrible.
It was like a monsoon, really. Yeah. And all of our guns they're at the bottom of the Chesapeake Bay.
I never even owned any to begin with, but if I did, I lost them all in a boating accident too. I don't know what happened. It just
that's what I'm going with.
I don't have a boat. I don't have a boat.
My husband took all my guns. What can I say? My husband took all mine. He don't want to give me my dog, my guns, nothing.
That sucks.
That sucks.
It's all right though.
I haven't remembered what you said was actually the truth.
He put the dog on the restraining order. I can't contact my dog.
What?
Come on.
That nigga put the dog on the restraining order.
I would fucking kill
That's some petty shit.
I would kill
That is exceptionally petty.
My dogs, I'm the one who's here all day with them. I'm their mama, okay? You don't take my fucking dogs away from me.
This bitch put my dog on the restraining order and they said I can't contact my dog.
How would you even... What? Does he have his own cell phone plan? Or,
he can put anything on a restraining order. Anything.
You gonna Skype with Pup or?
Yeah.
I can't even call her. I can't do nothing.
Wow.
You know, I did Skype with my dogs when I was in Oregon. I'm not joking.
That's not a good way to talk about your kids.
No. No, I had those little assholes with me. I didn't mean to Skype with them.
No, but you know,
like,
the thing...
I wish I did, though. Instead of having them with me.
The thing, though,
when I went to Vegas with my sisters, I didn't even talk to my kids the whole time I was gone. And it was so nice.
But remember with this...
That's the best.
Even mom needs a vacation sometimes, you know?
Yeah. You need it sometimes.
I did the stay-at-home dad thing for like 2 years. It's not easy.
No.
Nah, man.
No. And you know what? I don't fucking feel bad about not talking to my kids when I'm gone for that. I don't feel bad at all. When I had one kid, I felt bad about that shit. When I had 2 kids, I felt bad. I've got 3 kids and a stepkid. Fuck them. I am taking a break. And they are not talking to me. I went away to not have to talk to them.
Exactly.
So, but you know what?
That's
here
for mental health.
I'm here with them. I am 24/7 with my kids. I homeschool them. They are here all day with me, every day. So no, I get a fucking break sometimes. And fuck anybody who says otherwise.
No, that's true because I've been in Mississippi a month and a half. Like I go in the bathroom, they're in the bathroom. I go outside, they're outside. I go to the streets. They're walking their little asses out to the streets.
Yeah.
Hey,
and Terry, I've been doing this for 16 years. Okay.
My kids will be 19 in February.
Yeah.
God damn.
He has twins. Jason has twins.
Yeah. Oh boy. Now, the point I want to make though about the charge too is keep in mind that he's charged with attempted own a gun.
Possession.
Yeah, attempted possession of a gun, which means that in order to prove that it's a 3D printed gun, which means in order to prove that he's attempting to even possess a gun, had he not run his fucking mouth,
he has to make it first.
Yeah, he has to make it.
To fucking make it,
which means they need to prove. But they need to prove that the pieces even are a gun right up until the moment that he says, I was trying to make a gun. Right until that moment, they had to prove that was a part to a gun. He could have been like, oh, no, that's a piece that I'm printing for a friend, and it's not a gun at all.
You got to wonder why they want to take a guy.
I'm going to make a cake.
Right, you got to wonder why they want to persecute a guy who is such a perfect fucking bootlicking slave that he would voluntarily give up the information of exactly what he was trying to do, and he would voluntarily fucking condemn himself.
Yep.
Why would they want to persecute him?
He'll come out the other end at least questioning because he'll be like, I told them everything they wanted to know, and and they
cooperated fully, and they still fucked me in the ass.
No, it has nothing. It has nothing to do with that. It has absolutely nothing to do with him at all. It's the symbol.
Yep, it's making him an example.
Like this right here. You know, the don't tread on me. It's the little CAD file.
Yeah.
The monolith CAD file. That's what it is. The prosecutors. The prosecutors.
Whoever is prosecuting, that's stupid on his part. Because you can't really make.
No, it's not. The prosecutors and the politicians can use this as justification for passing laws that criminalize 3D printing.
That's what they'll use it for, but it won't be any bigger than that because you can't make an example of an ignorant status. You can't make an example of that person because you're not telling me nothing because that nigga is a stupid ass status to me. You're not Edward Snowden.
Yeah, but they're not worried about us.
You can't make that example for me. And who are they really making the example for? Me, you.
No.
No. It's not for us.
It's not for us.
It's not for us.
The other sheep in line. It is.
Yep.
And that's what I was going to say is they don't have to have something that is logically consistent because their message isn't for logically consistent people like us. I know. That's exactly my point. Their message is for their own brainwashed fucking slaves to keep them in line, to make them fear the boundaries of the plantation. That is the only reason
people like Ross Ulbricht were for us.
Right.
You know, that was a shot across the bow.
Snowden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those Cody guys Wilson, how they fucking tried to they're trying to character assassinate him now.
Exactly.
Saying he's got fucking, sexual assault fucking allegations against
the
child.
Within 2 or 3 months.
When they have nothing else, it's, he raped a bitch in 1998.
Cody Wilson, Kavanaugh. I mean, like, within 2 months, we have 2 examples of guys with sexual assault allegations from their past that somehow magically never got reported until this person became a problem for the liberals or the conservatives, or whoever the fuck was making a big deal about it in the establishment.
Well, that seems to be
that's
the
not suspect either.
It seems to be the playbook for the left.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Well, and you have all of the people on the political left lining up behind that too, because, well, it's sexual assault. So now, even if I would otherwise have disagreed with what they were doing, because of the charge, now they're not going to question it anymore. It's the only charge they can use and exploit like that the sexual assault charge.
It's the only one where there's so much emotion involved that they don't need any fucking evidence.
It's appeal to emotion,
They're not going to question it, and there's no evidence needed if it's about a person that they oppose. Because you don't hear them talking about Bill Clinton.
We're just talking about this today.
Yeah.
The crazy part is when we say sexual assault, we know the political climate as far as the left with Me Too and sexual assault, but it will never stick if that was a woman as the aggressor. And that's crazy because another little thing I'm going to drop, my husband also put on my restraining order that I sexually assaulted him. But I haven't been arrested. Nothing has happened. If it's a man accusing a woman, it's nothing. But they will always say, okay, well, this cis white male guy sexually assaulted this 14-year-old, young girl in 1998. And then everybody's like, oh, my God, this is so horrible.
Yeah, but when he was also 14 or 15, they always leave that out.
15. He was 15 and she was 14.
One of the accusers was actually fired from one of her companies for sexual harassment, but you don't see that on the mainstream media.
No.
Let me tell you,
like Andrew will know.
Operations manager for a crew at motherfucking Xavier University, and I swear to God, if I wasn't around cool people, I would have been fired for sexual harassment. I only used to hire good-looking niggas with beards, motherfucking beards. I would make them get up, stand up, turn around, and I'm like, I know I have that advantage because I'm a woman, and I feel like that's real fucked up because I'm raising sons, and I don't like the fact that you feel like your daughter can say my son looked at you a certain way or touched you a certain way, and then we're going to be fighting in court and he's going to be having a sexual assault or
you're going to ruin my son's life.
For the rest of his life.
Yeah. But like
there's
Andrew,
no way they can tell me.
I was going to say, Andrew will know when you talk about the UCMJ, he knows what the catch-all is. Andrew knows conduct unbecoming is the fucking catch-all in the UCMJ. And that's exactly what sexual misconduct is in politics and the public political sphere.
And they won't prosecute that at all.
Unbecoming is just you piss somebody off. So sexual misconduct is just you piss somebody off.
And that's what conduct unbecoming is in the military. It's the exact same fucking thing.
Yeah, and with conduct unbecoming, like you could be, if you were, let's say you're a female colonel and you hook up with like a freaking E5, just a sergeant that's male.
Which is super no-no.
Oh, yeah.
Branch of the military. Holy shit.
And that will never get prosecuted. At most, the colonel's going to get a, hey, don't do that, and a transfer. But chances are it's going to be the sergeant who's going to get the transfer.
Yeah.
And
let me tell y'all a funny story. And
sweep it under the rug.
This about me, right? So I went to military high school, whatever. I was 15. It was a way for me to get out of my house. This is when I stopped trusting the U.S. government. I was 16. My
funny
friend,
how exposure to the military does that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was in military school. We lived there. We did PT. We marched to we did everything. We had to clean the barracks. We did all that. But I was 16. My friend was 15. We were in there. She got caught fucking a sergeant. 15-year-old white girl in Mississippi. 38-year-old black sergeant in Mississippi.
Ooh.
They got caught. Everybody on the base knew.
She never got expelled.
Right. She got put out. It never made the paper. Nothing ever happened to him. She just got put out. Go about your way, and he went on to his great, glorious career of becoming, a general. And I was like, whoa, red flag, like a motherfucker. Something ain't right here. Right. And that was only us being in high school. You know what I'm saying? In a military high school. So I could only imagine. My mom was in the Navy and my grandfather was in the Marine. I can only imagine what the fuck goes on in the real military because we were just living on a base going to school.
Andrew and I could tell you stories.
Oh, boy. I mean, you can use it to your advantage sometimes.
My best friend's husband is a vet, and I tell him all the time, use that shit. Throw that shit around. They love it. They'll eat it up. We can get all type of perks. Use
Status do. Status fucking love that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not above using it if they're being assholes.
I love that with the flag stuff. Oh, you're disrespecting the flag. How would a veteran feel? Well, exactly the way that I'm telling you.
I'm a disabled veteran, asshole. I can feel any fucking way I want.
How about screw you?
Dude, I've got 90% disability from the VA. How about you go fuck yourself?
Wow.
They just shut right the hell up every time. It's kind
of
fun.
Yeah. Yeah, vets. Is there a Vets for Anarchy? There needs to be just like a Vets for Anarchy.
Well, there's the Veteran Anarchy page.
There's Veteran Anarchy page, and there's like...
Yeah, my first video went up on that page. It's the most viewed video they have.
Because you're so cute.
No, it was a Bring the Troops Home video for Veterans Day. Like, what was
I remember that video
2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
And you got a good voice too. The voice helps a lot. I sound like a pre-op transsexual when I talk, but you have really
I sound like glow stuff. I sound like glow stuff transsexual.
It's fucked up.
No, I've always had this gravelly voice. Like I have this low.
I've always wanted to sound like Eartha Kitt, like yes, baby, yes, but I can't. I just can't.
I can't sound any other way. I've always sounded like this.
All right.
But there's a Veteran Anarchy page that, well, you know Dylan, right, Andrew?
Yeah.
He's been on here a few times.
Yeah.
So he runs the Veteran Anarchy page. And he had asked me to do like a Bring the Troops Home video. He's asking a bunch of veteran anarchists to do them. So if you go to the Veteran Anarchy Facebook page, their most viewed video is the one that I made a couple of years ago for that. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to hit that up here.
Yeah, it got a couple thousand. So. It got like a couple thousand shares and like 100,000 likes and shit.
Oh, and there was a lot of good stuff on it, but then there's a lot of.
That'll create a shitstorm.
Yeah.
Every time.
There's some hateful shit on there. Yeah.
All right. How the bad incentives of revenue-driven law enforcement betray public trust.
Oh no!
God, this is one of those subjects.
On so many levels. I mean, like law enforcement in its entirety, as we live and breathe right now, is only to generate revenue. So how ironic is this revenue?
There are so many layers of duh.
It's just layer of
bullshit. My response here. Fucking duh. Fucking peel another one away. There's more fucking duh underneath.
I'm not gonna read the whole. I'm not gonna read the whole.
How stupid do you have to be as a reader, or not even stupid, ignorant, uninformed, to read this and be like, they're right. No, bitch, everything you do is about revenue. You are a revenue generator.
God. Yeah.
Just do this. It's like.
So I'm not going to read the whole article. I just want to read a couple of paragraphs. But this is from
All right.
The Foundation for Economic Education, FEE.org. Okay, and it says, I'm not going to try to pronounce.
I must be drunk.
Try and pronounce these guys' names, but it says I have conducted interesting studies showing that quote revenue-driven law enforcement can distort police behavior. Looking at a national example, the authors found that quote local fine and forfeiture revenue increases at a faster rate with drug arrest for sorry. Looking at a national sample, the authors found that, quote, local fine and forfeiture revenue increases at a faster rate with drug arrest than for violent crimes. This finding was then tied directly to the discretion and incentives police faced, especially in minority communities where they found that quote, drug, DUI, and prostitution arrests and associated property seizures increases with local deficits when institutions allow officials to more easily retain revenue from forfeited properties.
Gosh, you mean allowing people to steal things makes them want to steal more things?
No, they would never do that.
You know, I only heard like half of that in bits and pieces. But I agree.
It was all bullshit.
Just said. Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it, right?
As you can see, my enormous white Russian is gone.
Yeah. Okay. If police suspect property is somehow attached to a crime, they can seize the property, and unlike most other legal actions, the burden then shifts to the owner to prove the property is innocent.
Right. Civil asset forfeiture, and we talk about this probably every 3 episodes.
Let's backtrack for a second. Okay. Boom. Right. I'm a police officer. Right. Okay. Boom. I'm a cop.
Andrew, that's so loud. Stop vaping, you fucking faggot. Jesus.
I'm a bitch. I'm a pig. I'm a cop, right? Let's look at it like this. I'm a cop. I got 2 choices. Choice 1. Let me go down here, kick down these doors, do all this shit, chase these motherfuckers that's hurting people, and
potentially get shot. Yeah.
Almost get shot, get beat the fuck up, you know, motherfucker take my taser and tase me. Let me go do that. Or choice B, let me pull this nigga over that's already paranoid and shit, because I know he sell drugs, because everybody in the neighborhood talk. I know he gonna have something on him, and let me take his money, his drugs, his weed, his whatever he got on him. Let me take his guns, and then let me take his car, because I can keep that. And I'm not going to have no problems out of them, because 9 times out of 10, them niggas not about to bust at nothing. They not going to shoot. They not going to do nothing. They scared. They don't want to catch a charge. They don't want to have no trafficking on them. They are 2-time losers. What I'm going to do? I'm going to take this easy route over here. Plus, I'm going to get to keep the cash and half the fucking drugs, and keep the gun as a throwaway, and keep the car for the precinct. Or am I going to go over here and get my head blown off? What am I going to do as a regular human? A regular human?
Not only that, right. Not only that, here's another important point. So, 1, the Supreme Court has ruled that police departments can discriminate against candidates with high IQs. 2, police officers are slavishly fucking worshipped by the statists of this country, the fucking bootlickers, the thin blue liners, all of that. So they are built up in their own fucking minds by this public opinion of them about how brave they are and they're fucking heroes. But
already with a low IQ. Wait, already with a low IQ.
Right, right, exactly. But their pay isn't what most people would consider commensurate with hero pay, right? Because they're public servants, and public servants get paid shit for the most part, compared to any private sector competitors.
So what are they going to do?
They start
to supplement their income.
Exactly. So these stupid motherfuckers, and I'm going to say stupid because police departments discriminate against candidates with high IQs. These stupid motherfuckers start thinking that they are fucking God's gift to society, and that they deserve more than society can afford to pay them, they start thinking it is their right to fleece the average fucking citizen see around. They start thinking that it's their right.
Throw on top of that too that most of them, a lot of them are also like combat veterans coming from war zones, coming back, and then that's what they go into as jobs. So you've already got the violent hero mentality.
As an 18-year-old wide-eyed motherfucking patriot. So it's one of the two. They're a vet or they went into it and that's the only job they've ever done. And they've been fed this 4th of July bullshit their whole motherfucking life. Pledge of Allegiance, goddamn national anthem bullshit.
Yeah.
And boom.
There's also the narcissistic athlete that was really good in high school, went to college and didn't get drafted.
The bully that just couldn't handle not being a lot of them
be fine as shit.
Yeah.
Or you have the idiot that fucking flunked out or failed out of fucking boot camp and has to prove himself as some kind of badass.
Yeah. I was almost a Marine and then I twisted my ankle and
Had a boating accident.
My arches fell, so I got fucking
Yeah.
So
you know how
from
many...
like an economic perspective, like they're fucking fleecing people on so many levels. It's ridiculous because I mean, like, first of all, your income gets taxed, and then everything you buy with that income is fucking taxed, and then there's tax on fucking, everything else, and then on top of that,
at the end of all of it, they can just take your shit without you even doing anything wrong. They can just
on that note, the same way y'all have those military stories, I have those New Orleans project stories. Where the police, they came in my house, they did shit. Okay, so story 1. Me and the dude get pulled over. We got 2 people in the back. We got weed in the car, $1,200 in the car, money in the car, early 2000s. I'm like, fuck, you about to go to jail. What the fuck going on? What did they do? They took the 45, they took the 9, they took the $1,200 and told us keep going.
Yep.
Because now they got a pair of burners and they got cash.
And then once, so I used to fuck with this little guy, and he was like, he was horrible, he was terrible, he was just gutter ghetto project everything. Me too, I ain't gonna lie. So he shot a cop. So it was like, yeah. I lived in the projects in New Orleans, the Ivoryville projects. I was at work. I came home. We all sitting in the front room. The police pushed the air conditioner through the front window, reached around and unlocked my front door and walked in the door in tactical gear. Tore my whole apartment apart. Took all the money, everything I had in there, the prescription pills, everything, and took me to jail for trespassing. My address was 313. They took me to jail for trespassing in the 300 block. I sat in jail all weekend, and then the judge was like, 300 block? Well, you live at 313. Let me throw it out. But you already done took all the money. You already broke into my house. So, like, I understand what civil forfeiture really means. Most people know it and they hate it. But I lived through that shit, and it's all of that added to me becoming an anarchist. Like, no, bitch.
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. I understand completely. I'm 30 minutes from Oakland, so I get it. Believe me.
And we don't have a problem. It's still an abstract for me because I live out in the fucking sticks.
That's where I'm at right now, and that's where I'm staying.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that
you're better off if you're rural.
I think it was
we're rural.
2015 was the last time the statistic was released. But it said that the DEA alone seized more in assets and money than burglars took that year.
I don't give a fuck about most laws. Civil forfeiture, that shit bites me in my ass because I know
guilty. It's guilty until proven innocent.
That shit fucks with me. Like every time I pass by and I see a nice car sitting in the sheriff's lot, and I know it's civil forfeiture, that shit kills me to my heart because I know This motherfucking nigga didn't know nothing. He went out and he stole drugs and did what he was gonna do because he needed money because his mama was poor, and he bought this motherfucking Lamborghini and the police took it, and then he was dead. He was like, "What am I gonna do? They done took my shit." He's facing these charges or whatever. Like a person that sell drugs, I sell drugs. Y'all know I sell mushrooms. Like what the fuck? Like we not hurting nobody. I'm not out here killing nobody.
Yeah.
These fucking mushrooms will let me live my life. You know what I'm saying?
And people work hard for their shit.
I work hard.
Mushrooms is going before a congressional committee in a few months.
Schedule 4. They have me on a schedule with heroin right now.
That's what they're saying.
Ain't gonna fucking hurt you.
Yeah, psilocybin mushrooms. They're going before a committee soon. Right now, they're in human testing, and if they prove valuable for treating depression, then they're going to go before a congressional committee to take them off the Schedule 1.
Well, they should. The only reason they were on Schedule 1 in the first place is because they open your fucking mind.
Cannabis,
make you one with the universe, and you don't fucking trust the
weed,
government anymore.
Baby. Weed. I would travel with these mushrooms all over the United States, but weed I'm afraid of because you can smell it, and it's something. You know what I'm saying?
Probable cause.
Just the smell.
I absolutely despise that term. That is the lowest legal definition.
They can just say
it's another catch-all. It's another catch-all, just like conduct unbecoming.
Well,
it's
based entirely on opinion.
It's totally
subjective.
We need to make a list. Conduct unbecoming. We need to make a list of all these words.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I got pulled over. Catch-alls.
No, I got pulled over while I was in. While I was in, I got pulled over in Georgia. Okay, so I'm in. I get tested all the time. And
because they do. They piss test you all the fucking time.
Constantly. And I get pulled over while I'm driving through rural mountains of Georgia. So, think Squidbillies. Okay. And and I get pulled over. And the cop pulls me over because my license plate was expired. Well, woohoo, I was about to be transferred to North Carolina anyway, so why would I bother? So I was waiting, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And then he pulls me out of the car, and he's like, oh, have you been smoking weed? I'm like, no, dude, I've been driving from Fort Benning. How about you get off my nuts? Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
And he pulls me out of the car. He makes me wait. Because I smelled weed, that's probable cause, and searches my car, which is packed with my entire life because I'm moving.
Right.
Searches my vehicle, pulls stuff apart, and then he's like, well, what are all these guns for? And I'm like, do you need me to hand you my any of this? And he's like, well, where are you headed? And I'm like, North Carolina. Well, why are you going to North Carolina with all this stuff? Why might I be going to North Carolina with all of these things? I don't know. You tell me.
Douchebag. You want to see my orders?
Jesus. Why do you think I might be going there, Officer Jethro? Like, are you serious right now? Like, oh my God. And I got. Yeah, exactly. I got hauled to jail in rural Georgia. I didn't get booked in. They wound up releasing me because after tearing everything apart and leaving it in a pile next to my car on the side of the highway, they figured out that I didn't have anything.
Because the cops smelled a fucking skunk that somebody
allegedly
hit 3 miles down
allegedly.
The road.
They don't have to prove the smell. All they have to do is say,
exactly.
I thought I smelled.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that opens the door.
You thought you smelled, but your IQ is 86. Goddamn it! Look, y'all. I told my dude today because he's so law-abiding. He's like, babe, put on your seatbelt. Da 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 da. I'm gonna wear my seatbelt. I'm like, nigga, I hope we don't never get pulled over with you driving and me on the passenger seat. He was like, that's why I'm gonna make you drive. I'm like, same fucking thing, because I talk to them bitches so bad. I give them respect until they start asking personal questions. The first personal question you ask, like license and registration or where you going, why? Bitch, why? Yeah. And they don't expect that shit from me. They don't expect
that phone goes on Facebook Live and goes in my pocket, fuck you, I ain't turning it off.
I started recording and I started talking to him like shit because I have experienced it. The same thing you just said, Andrew. I remember being a young child and being pulled over by a racist ass motherfucking state trooper. Me, my mom, who is white, my dad, who is not white. He looks like me, you know what I'm saying? And she's like a dark-skinned white woman, and he's like a light-skinned black person. So they made this beautifulness. But still, we get pulled over, and you can see the obvious difference in the races. And we were moving, right? And pulling shit behind us. And him saying, nah, taking everything out of the car, out of the trailer, out of the truck, and putting it all on the side of the street. You know my daddy not smoking no weed. We these old motherfucking people. You know what I'm saying? My parents was old when they had me, and that really put me in a mindset like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like, police gonna do what they want to do. So if we get pulled over, bitch, I'm talking to them stupid, and you just need to realize this. I've had my ex-husband tell me so many times, shut the fuck up, bitch, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, no, he wrong. I know my rights. I'm going to talk to them stupid. He got a gun, I got a gun. What? Stupid. You're stupid. I don't give a fuck. And I think that's really what made me, I feel like that's really what made me so popular on Facebook and shit because, first of all, like I said, it's only 5 of us. It's like me, Kyron, Mike, Eric, July. It's a couple of us. And
John and Sam.
And I have a really I don't give a fuck attitude. The rest of them are black males, and they kind of still have to step back and say, what is my place in America? I can't do this. I'll get killed. I'm light-skinned enough, and I'm pretty enough, and I'm a female enough to be like, no, bitch, no. And so a lot of I'm going to that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a white boy in a black and Mexican neighborhood in the ghetto. So I've had them roll up on me. I've had them ask why I'm here. I've had them pull guns on me. Because
you stick out in the neighborhood.
Because I'm a different color, like I'm fucking wearing camo and shit in the fucking ghetto. So I stick out just a little bit. So,
that ain't shit. My children are from New Orleans, and we're up here, and they're like, we want to wear camouflage every day, Mom. I'm like, you know what, we cool, because these bitches be hunting. They go hunting and shit. You can wear that camouflage. You're gonna be all right.
I love when we talk about police. I love when we talk about police because I get to read my meme, my favorite meme. Yeah. And it says, I really hate it when people try to justify their immoral and illegal actions by saying, I'm just doing my job. If you don't like it, blame the lawmakers. But the truth is, without your compliance with the laws they make, without you enforcing them, Washington wouldn't be an issue. It would just be a group of people in suits circle jerking, dreaming of taking away our freedoms and rights and writing it down on paper.
Yep.
Exactly.
Hitler would have.
Yeah, Hitler would have been a screaming madman in a beer hall that was a failed artist and no one gave a crap.
Right.
If it wasn't for a bunch of people who were willing to go out and murder people on his behalf.
On his word. Yeah.
And I would say that most of the police are no different.
Oh, not at all.
No.
So, all right, we can't.
We're not saying be fooled. We're not saying that you can't be tricked. Okay, Andrew and I both were in the military. Look, you go through the 13
we were all
years.
statists at one point.
Yeah, you go through their 13 years of fucking indoctrination. And there's not a lot of blame to assign at that point if you choose to go serve your almighty masters that you've never known anything other than. But at some point, once you start questioning, that's when
it's like you have to have a certain level of intelligence. You have to have a certain level of autonomous thinking to even bring yourself to that point. And they bank on the same thing the police department does. Low intelligence, poor people who don't have another option and don't have another
and just to like completely hammer in that point they just said, Terry, there's the military recently missed their recruiting lines, right? They're the number that people that they were recruiting, and they blame it on the good economy.
Yep.
They straight up admitted.
So we not going to enlist. Well,
Wait, hold on.
They straight up admitted that they need poverty to get people.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing. It's an economic draft.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'm not putting my tinfoil hat on for this one, but that article came out like 3 or 4 days ago, and yesterday there was an article came out that the U.S. is abandoning its embassy in Iraq for fear of Iran.
It's about time, goddammit. Abandon all them hoes.
Yeah. Bring them all.
Let's do some more policies. Bring everybody home. It's a first step. And like, people hate me because yes, I'm an anarchist. Fuck all that stated shit. But you can't deny that Ron Paul made us who we are. Half of us wouldn't be right here if it wasn't for that man. And like, when I met him, I hugged him and I cried and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Half of us wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't even know shit if it wasn't for him.
Yeah. Well, no. I haven't had cable TV in probably a decade, maybe longer. So I didn't really even know shit about Ron Paul. No, I was just talking to people.
Baby, he wasn't on cable. It wasn't that. I learned from the movement and the people. I learned from people telling me about him and making my way to go find out who that was. I didn't.
Yeah, same here.
He wasn't on TV. They blacked him out. Oh, that was
I kind of skipped that step, and I went straight from like when I first found Jason's page, Wolf in a Sheep's World. I was like a constitutional conservative, and then I skipped right over all the rest of that shit and straight to fucking anarchist. It took me a while, but like I didn't do the Ron Paul revolution or any of that stuff. That wasn't.
I did. I was so deep in it. They're like, "Oh, black bitch, yes."
Master has given Dobby a flag.
Master has given Dobby a flag.
Dobby is free.
Bro, I'm telling you, I ain't never been this celebrated in my whole life. I was a cheerleader. I was in pageant. It wasn't until I got into the liberty movement that motherfucker was like, "Yes, this black bitch, yes." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna roll with it."
Right. But then at some point, right, you realize that they don't. It's not even about individual. They're still seeing me for the demographic that they think I fit into.
And I use it to my motherfucking advantage. So I've got diehards, people that I fuck with 100%. And then I have the people that say, okay, we got this black one. All right, she's beautiful. She's pretty. She's a pinup. We're going to use her. I'm going to use you too. All right, let's use each other, guys. Let's do this motherfucking thing.
Play the game.
What I'm saying? I can't not say, the man that brought me to Ron Paul was a black Floridian. He was a black man from Florida. So from the beginning, I was like, okay, it's cool. This is a black dude, whatever. And then it was months, years later when we got entrenched in the whole Ron Paul is a racist. Oh, this shit is racism. Oh, and then I'm getting attacked by the hoteps. And that's why I pushed back so hard at the fucking hoteps because, oh, queen sister, how you going to do this white man shit? Like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, really? Get the fuck out of here.
Like, in telling me what I can and can't be into, you're still collectivizing me, you fucking asshole.
Collectivism is always the cancer that fucking ruins every fucking thing. Amen. I had to take my corset off, y'all. Excuse me. Taking my corset off.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting that you mentioned you need to be intelligent to get past it, because one of the things that I've noticed is that there's a really disproportionately high number of former military, at least coming from my experience, of former military who become either libertarians or anarchists from special. But they're coming from special operations primarily. You see a ton of people coming from the Green Berets, coming from the Rangers, coming from the SEALs,
people with security clearances.
Yeah, people
higher up.
Yeah. Because in order to do it, you need to be smarter than the average big army guy. You can't be any old G.I. Joe. You have to be intelligent.
Well,
and because we're all smarter,
on my ASVAB or something like that, and I was in cryptology, and most of the people that I worked with,
ASVAB. I took it. They gave me air traffic controller.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I don't think I did. Like, I went all the way to MEPS. And then I got down there and I started thinking hard about shit. And I'm like, nah, you know what? I don't think this is the best.
Yeah, they wanted.
Well,
they
I
wanted
came from a military family.
They wanted my little brother to work on.
A military family. I was just fucking.
Oh, that's right.
Black sheep over there. I tried. I couldn't do it.
They wanted my little brother to work on the engines and nuclear submarines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said no.
Yeah, they asked me to join the nuke program. They asked me to go into the nuke program, and I didn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, my recruiter wanted to punch me in the head because I got a 97, and he knew that I was like half sloshed when I took it. And and he's like, "And you want to do what? Light infantry? What? Why? But what? I'm light infantry, and I'm an idiot. What?
Because it sounds like fun. I don't know.
Yeah,
my mom can't even. My mom can't even talk about her job. It's that fucking like, because she has like security clearance for it because she does like the interior design for submarines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be classified as hell.
The designs for that stuff is classified.
My ex stepbrother had to take it 3 times to get into the Marines.
Holy shit.
All you have to do is not eat the cram they give you to do it. What?
I'm not joking. He had to take it 3 times to get the Marines and then let him play with engines.
You know, one of my cousins was like that. He had to take the ASVAB like 3 or 4 times. And I was like, holy shit. Like, you only have to have a score of 50 out of 99 to get into the military. That's the Navy. The Navy has higher standards than the Marine Corps.
All right. We can't have...
Of course, because Marines are bullet sponges.
Yeah. All right. We can't have Terry on and not talk about how taxation is theft.
Okay. Last subject, though, because it's almost... It's like 10
we're right at the end here.
So... Americans on average spend more on taxes than on food and clothing combined in 2017, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics' new data on consumer expenditures. Okay, consumer units, which include families, financially independent individuals, and people living in single households who share expenses, spent an average of $9,562 on food and clothing in 2017. But they spent $16,749 on federal, state, and local taxes.
16,000?
Yeah.
And only $9,500 on food and clothing.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jeez. And what are we getting in return for that?
They take
all of your shit stolen by the cops.
Exactly.
Out of Kevin's checks every month, they take about $3,000. They take $3,000 from Kevin every month.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
I mean, it doesn't really count because he works for the government. So, but
we're going to hold some of this back. Is all they're really saying,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
We're just going to steal back some of the stolen money that we stole from the people to give to you to work for us.
Right, but he does work for it. It's not like a handout, but
no, totally, yeah.
Just
in concept, yeah.
Right. It's just it's weird, and then I get most of it back from I get most of it back through like my VA disability, which is non-taxable. So I'm not sure quite where we're at. I think we're kind of like tax neutral at this point, except that all of our money comes from.
Well, that makes you a negative net tax consumer. I think is the term that the white nationalists use, and you would not be entitled to any land if the government were to disappear under the Hopi under the Hoppian method.
Well, fuck them. They can try it. We have guns and they'll die.
Right, let's go, bitch.
Yeah.
That's just I can't even imagine. I mean, think about how much money that really means that you're spending. I mean, $16,000.
$16,749 on federal, state, and local taxes, and they said that the average unit or consumer unit was, where'd the number go?
9,400 or something.
No, damn it, I lost the number now. But it's like 73,000 is what. Okay, the consumer unit had an average before tax income of 73,573. So 73,000 was the average income of the study, and from that 73,000, 16,700 was taken out in taxes.
And imagine if, you know, how much different Americans would feel about that if instead of it being whittled out of their checks and whittled out of, you know, their buying goods and things little by little, if at the end of the year they had to just write a check for that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, hey. No, I figured out how the Hoppians were wrong about me, in case anyone's interested.
They're wrong about a lot of things.
Well, okay, but my dad is a very wealthy business owner, and just his property taxes alone each year are like 50 grand. That's not even including his income taxes and things like that. So really, that money, if they weren't stealing from him, would be in his estate and would be part of my inheritance. So maybe we're just over here taking back what the government's taking from my dad. Does that count?
Yeah.
No.
I think that totally counts.
No, because if you're getting it back, then you're not paying for roads and libraries and that sort of stuff.
No, I'm talking about the hobby.
So you're still a net.
I'm only getting part of it back. We're only getting part of it back. Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, my dad, I'm assuming that he pays roughly anywhere between $750 and $1 million a year in taxes.
Yeah, so check this out, right?
We don't make anywhere near that.
In 2017, I believe the federal government alone brought in $3.32 trillion in federal taxes.
That's a lot of money.
And they spend a huge chunk of that. I mean, ignoring what they spend on the military, don't get me wrong, but they spend a ton of that on, like, you'll see them constantly doing all these federal programs to help local economies and blah blah. So you're pulling trillions out.
Fucking much from them. I mean,
and it's like there was an actual program here in Wisconsin a little while ago to tax farmers based on the amount of fuel that they used, and then take that tax money and then use it to help local farms that were in need.
That's what they.
So
it's Keynesian economics is what it is.
Keynesian, yeah. Only the government can break your legs, and then
it's also wealth redistribution.
Tell you how lucky you are that they were there to help you.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. They seem to be under this impression that by sucking the money out, passing it through a bunch of bureaucrats, and then re-injecting
who line their own fucking pockets with it.
That magically now, and it's keep in mind, and they'll say, like, because that was the big thing, is that the Republicans in Congress, in the state Congress, their argument was, well, but we're going to be putting in every single dime that we take out. So every dime that comes in will go, that same dollar amount will go back into this program.
Just stop ignoring the fact taking it out, assholes.
Yeah. Well, right, and that's ignoring the fact, though. Well, but it doesn't. It still makes it a net loss, because think about it's got to go through all these bureaucrats before it goes back out.
And they all have to be paid with tax
and they all have
money.
to be paid with the tax money, which means that they need to pull it from somewhere else. So you're
and that's
still
not even counting
a net
for corruption,
loss.
for the ones who skim, for the ones who fucking nepotism and all this other shit. It's not even counting for all that.
So it's still a net loss to the economy. And that's the thing that a lot of these, especially the socialists, don't seem to understand but it doesn't matter if it all goes back in. You're still having to pay for taking it out. You're having to pay for deciding where to distribute it and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, we could go on that one all day, but another one of the ones that another number that they mention is the Social Security. The average $4,717 in Social Security taxes.
Yep.
Jeez.
So
for something that won't be there when we.
Hold on. If you're making $73,000 a year and you and you lose $4,700 to Social Security taxes, when you retire or when you eligible for Social Security and they're handing you a check for $2,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $4,700 for the year. there's, the numbers don't add up on that.
There's a severe deficit there.
Has the CBO changed their estimation that Social Security is going to be insolvent at the end of next year yet? Has that been changed?
I think it was 2022 or something like that.
Okay, I thought that was Medicare. I thought Medicare was like 2022 and Social Security was like 20. I don't know. Maybe I have them backwards, but I remember when that came out because I was like, "Holy crap!" We're at the end here. It's 5 minutes to midnight and it's about to come crashing down.
Thanks, boomers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. We should just eliminate 1913 and we'd be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Right. That whole year, just erase it.
Yep.
I agree. Income tax,
that wouldn't
Federal Reserve.
Then you wouldn't have had, because then you wouldn't have had World War I. You wouldn't have had World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't have led to like a lot of different.
If we eliminated,
you wouldn't have runaway inflation. You wouldn't have college, like people taking out mortgages to fucking pay for college.
Yeah. Did you kill baby Hitler? No, I killed, or I didn't go back and kill baby Hitler. I killed baby Woodrow Wilson. Sorry, baby who?
Who's baby?
Who's baby Hitler?
Yeah.
You'd never have Hitler without Woodrow Wilson. And with Battlefield 1, when that came out, everybody got into World War I, and then people started talking about the causes and the U.S. getting into it. And if you analyze the manipulation and the nastiness and the just how awful getting America into World War I really was, and shit that Wilson pulled, you're like, oh my God, that dude was evil to the core.
Well, think about it. I mean, the Federal Reserve Act was passed on Christmas Eve of 1913, and then World War I happened in, I think, April of 1914. So it was only like 5 months after the fucking Federal Reserve was put into place that World War I kicked off. It's like kind of a coincidence.
Shocker.
Yeah. Well, but keep in mind, I mean, the U.S. didn't enter the war until...
There's no connection.
Yeah, but the U.S. didn't enter the war for another 3 years, so clearly it can't be possibly connected at all, even remotely.
Yeah, I mean, like, why are you trying to conflate central banks with war? That's just like crazy talk.
Well, and if I watched the things. And I watched the thing where they were talking about the fact that, if people knew that the war was coming, then all of the bankers would have pulled all their money out of Europe because they knew that it was about to go to war. And I'm like, no, they wouldn't have.
Like
That's what they do.
Fucking profit machines that central banks have.
You know how good war is for the economy.
Holy shit!
Come on now.
Well, for their pockets, not the economy.
Yeah.
So, all right, we got it's 8 o'clock right now, or 11 o'clock for you guys. You guys want to do one more quick one, or?
I gotta get going. Okay. I got kids to get to bed, so.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
You got kids to get to bed.
Yeah.
So, Terry, you still there?
I'm here, but I can't see myself.
No, I know.
Well, we can see your beautiful picture, but
we see your picture.
Yeah, that's a nice picture. I did that.
So. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, totally.
I would love to do this all the time if y'all want to have me, because like I don't have shit else to do.
Well, we have there's Dan and Jason and I have been doing this almost like. Well, I don't know, Dan. Did you come in a few episodes in?
I think
episode 5.
Yeah. But Jason and I have been here from the first episode, and we've had, so Jason and I are the only two that have been here from the very first episode. Other people have come in and they've left and things like that. But other people, I mean, Dan has been here almost since the beginning too. So the three of us really have been kind of the podcast. But, Andrew's been pretty reliable.
I can bring some people over, Yeah, I bring a couple of people.
All right. Well, and we kind of found that like having any more than 4 or 5 people really just makes it too difficult to have a conversation. So, it's kind of like when people have a chance, when you have the opportunity and you want to come on. But we, I think we can't have like 6 people every time. I mean? We tried that and it was